Hey guys, what's up? Hope everyone's having a great day. Okay, we are continuing on with Johnny Depp's Deposition from November 11th, 2020. This is volume 2. We're going to do volume 2 and 3 today, and then the next video will be volume 4. So let's just get right to, as I said, I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, so who do we got in the house today? We have Ben and Camille, and we have Lainey, Adam Nadelhoff. Okay, so we have Nadelhoff and Lainey, and of course, Amber is also there. Okay. So it jumped right into page 396. So I'm just going to jot down to line 11, questioning from Elaine. So Elaine, there were some medical records that were in evidence, do you recall, including of your finger? Depp, I remember that there were medical records of my finger. The other medical records there were Kipper. Yeah, I think a few things were touched on. But well, in terms of medical records and such, I think the other side was lacking in some of their medical evidence. Elaine, was there any witness that you wanted to call that wasn't able to be called? Ben, I'm going to instruct the witness not to answer to the extent that it requires you to disclose communications between yourself and your counsel. The choice of witnesses certainly wouldn't be a subject discussed between you and your counsel, so I would instruct you not to answer. Johnny, I'll have to go with Ben's suggestion. Elaine, all right, so you're instructing him not to answer on the basis of attorney-client privilege? Ben, yes, the choice of witnesses would be, I wasn't counsel. Elaine, I wasn't asking for your choice of witnesses. I was asking if there was anyone that he wanted to call that was not called. In other words, that wouldn't come, that was unavailable, was sick, anything that he wanted but was not available to present. Ben, well, I would still instruct you not to answer to the extent this was entailed communications between you and your counsel in the UK. If you can answer it without that, you can answer it, but that would be something that would normally be subject to between attorney and client. Depp, I don't think that I can go into any discussions that I've had with any of my counsel, but I don't recall that there were any witnesses that I wanted, that I was desperate for and we didn't get, no. Elaine, was there any evidence that you wanted to present that you were unable to present for any reason? Ben, and again, I would instruct the witness not to answer to the extent it would require him to disclose communication between himself and counsel. If you can't answer the question without disclosing attorney-client communications, you should not answer the question. Depp, the fact is I can't, as it would be breaching attorney-client privilege. Those would have been things that I would discuss with my lawyer, so I don't know how to answer that, or if I can. Elaine, but separate from your attorneys, you can't think of anything you wanted to present, but it was unavailable for some reason? Ben, same instruction. Depp, yeah, and I got it, and you're right, I get it, but I don't want to leave you hanging. I can say this, again, this is from just on out of personal experience. The protocol and the way things play out in the UK court are at times quite complicated. For example, if something is not brought up by the defending counsel, then the other side, the plaintiff, has no ability to bring certain things up that have not been discussed before, even though they're part of the case. So that is something that I noticed in the UK proceedings. It's very, very different than the United States. Elaine, in that context, is there anything you can think of that we've already talked about witnesses? So I'm on evidence? Depp, Elaine, is there anything you could think of that you wanted to present evidentiary-wise in the High Court that you were unable to? Ben, again, instruct the witness not to answer to the extent it requires him to divulge attorney-client privilege, and I also object to the extent the question purports to call for legal conclusion. Depp, yeah, I'll stay with Ben on that one if you don't mind. Elaine, so you can't answer it outside of whatever your counsel may have. Depp, I don't think so. I think it would step into the arena of attorney-client privilege, and I don't see any other way to even try to speak without breaching that. So, Elaine, so outside of communications with counsel, you cannot think of any evidence that you would have liked to. Ben, objection, asked and answered. Elaine went on, present, but you were unable to. Ben, asked and answered, but you may answer it again. Depp, I think, unfortunately, it would require me to have, even if I had to dip my toe into the attorney-client privilege, that would be If I were to answer that question fully, it would definitely require me to breach that. Ben, now time for lunch? Elaine, yeah, we can do that, sure. Depp, you're just looking for cookies, aren't you? Depp, I am. You've got me again. And so they went off the record, and then it jumps from, so that they were off the record, it jumps from page 401 to 407. So we're missing a few pages. So I'm just going to go down to line 3. Elaine, and the opinion. The judgment found that the statements that were made in Mr. Wooten's article, that deposition exhibit number 8, were substantially true. Do you recall that? Based on probabilities, I believe is how the judge put it. Is that not correct? I think it is. The probability is, I believe is how he phrased it. Elaine, do you remember him finding that the statements were, quote, substantially true, end of quote? Ben, objection to the form of the question, argumentative, the document speaks for itself. Depp, if he finds that substantially true, then he finds that substantially true. That's one man's opinion, and he's entitled to that. Elaine, well, it's just not one man's opinion, right? This is the judge in court that oh God, did it, and it skipped. So that was it. So this is not just one man's opinion. Fuck you, Elaine. It is one man's opinion. And my opinion of that man is very low. So watch your step. And it jumps to page 418 of volume 2. Okay, so I'm going to go down to line 4. Elaine, you don't get to ask me a question, but I did ask you, you're aware that it's public? Depp, that is a good, well, Elaine, if it hadn't been in your favor, you would have agreed with him and thought he was right, and you would have been thrilled with his decision, wouldn't you? Ben, objection to the form of the question calls for speculation, but you may answer. Elaine, you would have believed you were vindicated, would you not? Ben, objection to the form of the question. It's a hypothetical question to a fact witness. Depp, I'm going to say the same thing that I did yesterday to you, and I hope this makes sense. Whether Justice Nichols saw things in favor of my case against the son or not, whether this may land us, let's say, if I won every case, if I won every little trinket or whatever, I still will lose. I've still lost. And that started April 22nd, and then the last time I saw her in May or whatever it was, Elaine, 2016. Depp, somewhere I've still lost. You understand? Because I will carry this with me, the baggage of it, the accusations, whether I win or whether I'm deemed some kind of horrible creature that should be locked in a jail cell or in a tomb or whatever. I'm king of the universe. I've lost. I've already lost by the damage done. So my continuing my search for the truth, my continuing to demand the truth is not for me to win, but it's for the people out there, the women, the victims of their type of thing who are not believed, who are being lied to by your client, pretending to be some new messiah of the women's movement. She is a fraud. Anything else? So if I can help other people by continuing, I certainly will now. Ben, is this 11? Thank you. They pull up exhibit number 11, Elaine. I want to show you what has been marked as deposition exhibit number 11. And this is an article in February of 2019 talking about a lawsuit that was brought in May of 2018 by two of your bodyguards, Eugene and Miguel. Deb, yes, ma'am. Elaine, do you see that? Deb, yes, ma'am. And if you could move down to the bottom of the first page, this is an article about it from Blumenthal, etc. BNBD is easier than saying all those names. Ben and de Blau. And that's it. It cuts off. Okay, so I think that they just really wanted to make sure that all that yellow spot was definitely highlighted. Okay, so I think it moves into volume 3. So this is volume 3 of Depp, and it was done on November 12th, 2020. So the following day. Let's see where it starts. Oh, they're small ones. Ew. Okay, so let me just, can you guys see that? I hope you guys can see that. Okay, I'm going to go to line 3. Elaine, Jack Wiggum moved to another agency recently. Is that correct? Depp, yes, he did. And do you know the name of the new agency? Depp, no, I do not. Are you still with him even though he has moved? Depp, I will definitely go with Jack. Yes, of course. That just hasn't come up yet for you. Depp, no, as far as I'm concerned, Jack Wiggum is my agent, whether he's with CAA or not. He's my film agent. At present, it's entirely normal and possible that Christian Carino could remain my commercial agent, as they say in CAA. Elaine, and what role does Brian Lord play? Deb, Brian Lord he's the head of CAA. He's the chairman, I suppose, chairman of CAA. Elaine, does he do anything personally for you with your career? Deb, Brian Lord? Elaine, yes. Deb, no, not very much, no. Elaine, okay, when did you first meet Adam Waldman? Deb, first met Adam Waldman, was it 2016, I'm thinking? Elaine, was it in the time frame of Tracy Jacobs, the Tracy Jacobs switch? Was it around that same time frame? Deb, I can't remember if it was Tracy was still in my life at that moment. I believe that she was not, and I met Adam with Ed White at Ed White's house. And Elaine, did Ed White introduce you to Adam Waldman? Deb, Adam Waldman was someone that was brought up. His name was brought up as a very capable and brilliant attorney, and he was someone that I wanted to talk with regarding the Mandel situation at that time. First and foremost, the Mandel situation, and though Jake Bloom's thing was not coming out as I wasn't looking great, I waited because I love Jake Bloom in many ways, and I couldn't bring myself to believe that he would have done that to me. Though when it came to light, yes, Adam Waldman started with me basically around that as an outside Hollywood attorney, which I did not want a Hollywood attorney. Ben, and Mr. Depp, these questions are fine, but I just want to advise you that when Adam became your attorney, your communications are 100% privileged. Elaine, who recommended Adam Waldman to you? Deb, it was a guy that I met who turned out to be a very, very sweet man who understood my dilemma and felt that I was being dealt a dirty hand, and he recommended someone named Adam Waldman. Elaine, what's the name of the man that recommended him? Deb, he was like an attorney in the UK that I'd met. Elaine, you don't recall his name? Deb, no, I don't. I don't recall his name. Elaine, so how is it you ended up meeting Adam at Ed White's house? Deb, I requested to meet with Mr. Waldman. I believe it was Ed White who facilitated that meeting because there was a dinner held at Ed White's house. Elaine, had Ed White worked with Adam Waldman before? Deb, I don't believe so, no. Elaine, okay, so do you recall when you first hired Adam Waldman? Deb, well, after our first discussion and after he received enough information on the case and enough facts, he gave us some thought and then he got back to me on what he felt was the right thing to do. Elaine, do you remember approximately when this was? Deb, Elaine, are we still in 2016? Are we? Deb, yeah, I believe we're still in 2016, yes. It wasn't long after that I once discussed the case with Mr. Waldman. I felt that he was the man for the job. Elaine, and is this before or after you resolved, for lack of a better word, your divorce with Amber? You met Mr. Waldman? Deb, oh boy. Oh, before we broke up or before the divorce? Elaine, before the August settlement. August 2016 is when you reached the settlement. Deb, that's the settlement. Okay, so it was after. Elaine, okay, so sometime between August 2016 and the end of 2016, when you met Adam and hired him. Deb, I'm going to guess, I'm thinking somewhere, I think it was around October-ish. Elaine, all right, and has Adam Waldman worked for you since that time? Deb, yes, ma'am. Elaine, okay, consistently? Deb, yes, ma'am. Elaine, and you consider him a trusted advisor? Deb, oh, yes, ma'am. Elaine, okay, is he Adam Waldman authorized to speak on your behalf? Ben, objection to the form of the question. It calls for legal conclusion, and it's also vague in instance. And no, Elaine, no. We know what you're trying to do here. Stop it. Deb, an instance is very important. He is allowed to speak on my behalf. Well, of course, there's a yes and a no in there. It depends on the situation. It depends on what you know, what's presented. Elaine, is Adam Waldman authorized to speak on your behalf with respect to your position on Amber Heard and her statements? Ben, objection, same objection. Objection to the form of the question to the extent it calls for legal conclusion and to the extent it depends, it's vague. Deb, I think just, Elaine, you know what? Deb, excuse my ignorance, is that also not privileged? Ben, yes, any communications you had with Mr. Waldman. Deb, I do feel like, Ben, any, I'll instruct you not to answer. Deb, we're entering that arena of privilege. Ben, yeah, Mr. Depp, I will definitely instruct you not to answer any questions about communications you had to or from Adam Waldman or any of your attorneys. Elaine, let me do it this way. I think this might be the easiest way. When you were familiar with some requests for admissions that we served in this case that you filed responses last Friday to, let me rephrase it a little differently because based on the look in your face, no. Deb, yeah, I was confused. Yes. Elaine, okay, we filed a series of what we call requests for admissions, and we attached the articles that one that you had made statements in, the GQ article, and then we also attached the articles in which Mr. Waldman had made statements. We asked further those were genuine and authentic, and the specific quotes were genuine and authentic, and the response to those were yes, they were genuine and authentic. I'm going to go through because I'm going to go through just because to make it move as quickly as possible. And then that way, Mr. Chu can, figure to help you where you know you want to be instructed or not. I'm just trying to make this as transparent as possible. I'm going to go through and ask you on each of these whether Mr. Waldman was authorized to make these statements, okay? So, Ben, and just so you know, and first of all, it would be helpful if we have the document to which you're referring. Secondly, I will instruct him not to answer any specific question about what he communicated to or from Mr. Waldman, but you can go through this for the record. Elaine, I'm not going to ask him that so we don't have to go into that issue. That's what I'm trying to. When I say I'm trying to be transparent, I'm literally going to go through the statements and just saying, was Mr. Waldman authorized on your behalf to say X? Ben, right, and I will give the appropriate instruction, so please. Okay, Elaine, so on April 12th, 2019, was Adam Waldman authorized on your behalf to make the quote in page 6 accusing Ms. Heard of committing, quote, defamation, perjury, and filing and receiving a fraudulent temporary restraining order demand with the court, end quote. Ben, Mr. Depp, I will instruct you not to answer that question because you cannot do so without disclosing your communications with Adam Waldman. Depp, thank you, Ben. Elaine, in June of 2019, was Adam Waldman authorized on your behalf to tell the blast that, quote, Ms. Heard continues to defraud her and her abused hoax victim, Mr. Depp, the Me Too movement she masquerades as the leader of, the other real abuse victim worldwide, end quote? Ben, I will instruct you not to answer. Depp, indeed. Elaine, on July 2nd, 2019, was Adam Waldman authorized on your behalf to tell the blast that Ms. Heard, quote, went to court with painted-on bruises to obtain a temporary restraining order on May 27th, end quote? Ben, I would instruct you not to answer. Depp, absolutely, Ben. Elaine, so just for the record, based on the instructions of your counsel, you were declining to answer each of these questions, correct? I just want to make sure the record is clear. Ben, yes, he's going to follow my instruction. Depp, it seems pointless for me to sit here and go against my counsel's wishes. Elaine, I wasn't asking you to go against it. Ben, he's going to follow my instructions of counsel, as I'm sure Miss Heard will when her turn comes. Elaine, I just want a clear record is all I'm trying to do. Ben Chu, she's entitled to ask. Depp, oh, no. Ben, and I will make an objection to each one. She just has to make her record. Depp, I get you. Elaine, on July 3rd, 2019, was Adam Waldman authorized on your behalf to state to People magazine that, quote, Ms. Heard Batter's face was a hoax, end of quote? Ben, don't answer. Don't you fucking answer. Depp said, thank you. Elaine, and are you following your counsel's instructions not to answer, correct? Depp, yes, ma'am, I'm following my counsel's instructions. Thank you. Elaine, okay. Then on April 8th, 2020, was Adam Waldman authorized on your behalf to say, quote, Amber Heard and her friends in the media use fake SV allegations as both a sword and a shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her SV hoax facts as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp, end quote. Ben, don't you fucking answer that. That was my phone. Okay, I'm just going through like all the nonsense of them. Okay, so Ben, same instruction. Elaine, on April 27, 2020, was Adam Waldman authorized on your behalf to tell the Daily Mail, quote, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face or property. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed that place up, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and publicist, and then placed a second call to 911, end quote. Ben, don't you fucking answer that. Depp, I'll take Ben's advice, thank you. Elaine, okay, on June 24th, 2020, was Adam Waldman authorized on your behalf to accuse Ms. Heard in the Daily Mail of committing a, quote, abuse hoax, end of quote, against you? Ben, don't you dare. Deb, thank you, Ben. I will take your advice and I appreciate it. Thank you. Ben, you're most welcome. Elaine, and now with respect to each of those that I just asked, I want to phrase it a little bit differently, but to save time and have us go through it. Ben, sure. Elaine, I would just like to substitute the word authorized to, was he acting as your agent when he said, do you want me to go through all of them again and ask that? Ben, I'm going to, first of all, it would call for legal conclusion, but I would give the same instruction. Elaine, okay. Ben, for him to answer. Whether you're asking as an agent or an attorney. Elaine, so for the record purposes, we can agree that I was going to go back and then ask for each of those same ones acting as your agent, and you would have instructed him also on attorney-client privilege not to answer, and he would have followed your advice. Ben, yep, to spare your time. Deb, yes, indeed. Ben, let's do that. Elaine, okay. Deb, the one thing that I am confused about, I'd love to have defined in a way as an attorney, there's that, but agent, what's the definition of agent in this instant? As agent as in Tracy Jacobs or Jack Wingham, or Ben, it's confusing, we can talk. Elaine, speaking on your behalf. Ben, we can talk. Deb, okay. Ben, about it off the record. Deb, I just didn't know. Yeah. Ben, is confusing because agent and attorney can also be an agent, so it's tricky, but I'll give you the instruction just so that we don't have to. Deb, it's just the one thing he's not a talent agent, or he's not a Elaine, no. Deb, an agent of mine, he has nothing to do with that. Elaine, and I think Mr. Chu and I knew. Ben, the confusing thing about agent, as you said, agent can be a commercial agent, can be a talent agent, and technically we lawyers can be agents of a different context. But I think we're clear on, Depp said, yeah, I just wanted the context. I need to know the definition. Ben, context is key, sorry. Elaine, but for your purposes, Mr. Chu, just me substituting and asking in each of those questions if Mr. Waldman was acting on Mr. Depp's agent and making those same statements. Ben, same instruction not to answer because he was. Elaine, attorney-client privilege. Ben, attorney-client privilege. Elaine, Mr. Depp, you are following your counsel's instruction with respect to all of that, correct? Depp, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Elaine, and do you have a social media team? Depp, no, I have a social media something I've never participated in. It wasn't until the COVID pandemic started to hit and then people were stuck in isolation that I thought if there was ever a time to open an account, like an Instagram account, to be able to talk directly to the people to try to lighten at least their moment with a couple of posts, this or that, thanking them for various things. That's the first time I've ever had any kind of social media experience. And to be honest, I don't have a team. There's a woman friend of mine's Mrs. who runs it for me. I myself don't even know, I don't see it. I don't even know how to log into it. I'm not particularly tech savvy. Elaine, I'm going to back up for a minute. I forgot to ask one more series on that set of the counterclaims, and my apologies for this inconvenience. With respect to each of those quotes, and I just gave, and make it easier, beginning with April 12, 2019 statement to page 6, for each of those statements, did you adopt those statements or have you adopted those statements that Mr. Waldman made? Ben, I'm going to instruct him not to answer that based on attorney-client privilege as to each of the statements that Mr. Waldman made. That's excluding the GQ statement, which I believe is the first one in. Elaine, all right, and this paragraph where I read those from paragraph 66A through F of the counterclaim. Ben, no, understood. It's a little difficult because you haven't provided us a copy, but I think we're clear. Elaine, okay, so just that same question of do you adopt or have you adopted these statements as also would be imposing attorney-client privilege? Ben, correct. Elaine, and instructing him not to answer, correct? Ben, correct. Elaine, and Mr. Depp, would you not answer based on your counsel's direction? Depp, that is correct. Thank you. Ben, and I assume Ms. Heard will do the same at her deposition. She will follow your instructions. I don't think I'll ask. Elaine, I was going to say I don't know that I can speak for her just yet on that. Ben, no, but I don't think you need to ask him that each time. Elaine, oh, you know it depends on the judge, but some of them require that on the record. That's why. Ben, I think Mr. Depp is going to follow my instructions, right or wrong. Elaine, okay, great. Ben, so the house will fall upon me and not upon him. Elaine, that makes it easier. Okay, so let me get back to the social media, and I apologize for, not at all. Elaine, jumping around a little bit, but do you have a publicist? Deb, I do. I've had a publicist for a number of years. I've been with a woman named Robin Baum. Elaine, and what does she do for you? Deb, well, that's a good question. Since Miss Heard's allegations and accusations and the People magazine cover and reporting me to be a monster and a wife beater and all of that, since then, Miss Baum's work or her responsibilities or her representation of me, our communication lessened a great deal. We did speak a couple of times. I think she was overwhelmed. I think Miss Baum was overwhelmed with what appeared to be the imminent death of me, and therefore it didn't really take much. Well, many people in Hollywood were scared to take a stand on anyone because it could cost them their livelihood. It could, if you back someone who's been defined as a ne'er-do-well, I don't even know what that means. And that's not enough to say that a ne'er-do well. Fear was rampant throughout Hollywood of, people subtly realizing, yeah, I like Johnny, but you know what? I don't have a dog in this race and I don't want to get into trouble. And so yeah, I was not a safe bet and I was not a safe person to represent, let's say. Elaine, so there's a point where Miss Baum stopped being your publicist. I'm just a little confused. Deb, well, there's a point where she stopped being my publicist, but she was still technically my publicist because I have not relieved her of her duties because she's not doing anything. So she is there if I need to call her, but I have no need to call her as she's not really been involved in any of my attempts to get the truth out there in the world. Elaine, did you ask Robin Baum to assist you in getting your truth out? And then it cuts off. It cuts off because we go from page 623 to 648, whole 20 pages. So I'm going to go down to line 4. Elaine, do you have a recollection of speaking with Miss Wasser before your mom died? Deb, I can't say. I don't know. Elaine, okay, you started to talk about having a person after COVID-19 who did some posting for you, I think, or what I asked questions about social media? Deb, yep. Elaine, do you still have that person? Is that person still working for you? Deb, she doesn't work for me. She's the wife of a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine. Elaine, is this Gina Deuters? Deb, it is indeed, yeah. Elaine, have you paid Gina Deuters to perform any services for you relating to your social media? Deb, no ma'am. Elaine, she's just doing this because? Deb, she's a friend. Elaine, as a friend and because Mr. Deuters is your partner and works with you? Ben, objection to the form of the question, argumentative, but you may answer. Elaine, she's married to Stephen Deuters, right? Deb, right. But the way you're turning it, you want to make it sound like it's an obligation that she must do it. She offered to do it as my friend. She has not asked for money. Mr. Deuters did not come to me and say, hey, can you give my wife a gig? It was actually quite a sweet thing, sweet offer, because I don't know how to do that stuff. I don't know how to get onto that. Elaine, what exactly did Gina Deuters offer to do? Deb, whenever I wanted something posted, all I have to do is create the content and then she knows how to get it onto the Instagram account, which I don't, and then she can post it. She will post whatever content I would like to give to the people. Elaine, so did Gina Deuters actually create your Instagram account for you? Deb, no, she should not. Elaine, who did? Deb, I don't even know. It was just sort of a request to the various partners in my work. And, beyond from Deuters to others, I don't know who actually set up the account and did all the work to do that. But it was something that I thought was important at the time of COVID, to be able to send messages to people's homes who have been, in isolation for months already. Elaine, so sometime after COVID started is when you first asked to have an Instagram account? Deb, that's the only time I thought it was ever a necessary tool. Elaine, so you didn't have one before COVID? Deb, nope, never. Elaine, and when you're talking about COVID, approximately when did you start the Instagram account? Deb, I'm going to say it's March. I had just made it out of London before the shutdown and got back to the south of France just in time. Elaine, okay. And who did you tell to create this? You said you got various partners. You requested various partners. Deb, well, sort of, it's kind of, you're sitting around with your couple of pals and you say, I think this is the first time I've ever even toyed with the idea of having any kind of social media presence. That stuff's a mystery to me. Johnny, it's a mystery to a lot of us. Oh, fuck. Anyway, so I thought what? Sorry, I got myself all lost. I don't know, that stuff's a mystery to me. So I thought, as it is a way to have direct communication with the people themselves, and the people are my bosses and they're my employers. I thought it would be a good opportunity to be able to do whatever bit I could. If I could do a little skit and make people smile or laugh, great. If I could give them my feelings and some support, help them get through it, that's what it was for. And that's still what it's for. Elaine, so who are the people that were in? I'm trying to figure out who set it up for you. Depp, I don't know. Elaine, would there be, where would we be able to look to find out who set up your Instagram account? Depp, I would say the man who asked for that is Ed White. Elaine, because he would have paid for it, right? What? Paid for it? What? Elaine, stop it. Get some help. Depp, oh, I think, yeah, at the end of the day, everything's going to come back to Ed. Elaine, did you discuss setting up the Instagram account with Adam Waldman? Ben, you may answer that yes or no. Depp, I can answer that. Ben, you can answer that yes or no. You shouldn't disclose your communications with Mr. Waldman. Now, is it going to skip again on me? Is it? No, it's not. Okay. Depp, okay, I see yes. Of course, yes. Elaine, and that's still what it's for? Oh, shit. Where are we at? 6:52. Oh, okay. Elaine, with the Instagram account, do you have any Twitter account? Depp, nope. Elaine, and you've never tweeted? Depp, I've never tweeted in my life. Elaine, have you ever accessed somebody's Twitter account to read other people's tweets? Depp, no, ma'am, I don't read. I don't read things in newspapers. I don't know what Twitter or Tweeter is. Elaine, okay, do you have a Facebook account? Depp, no. Elaine, do you have any other other than Instagram, do you have any other kind of social media account? Depp, I mean, I have the ability to text and send emails, and that's about as far as I can get with a computer. Oh, bless. Elaine, okay, so other than the conversation that you told me, or conversations you had with Miss Robin Baum, about how to deal with the publicity after the obtaining the temporary restraining order, did you speak with anyone about how to handle it in the press and in the public, this type of situation? Ben, objection to the form of the question. Elaine, I asked it pretty terribly. I agree with you. So let me ask you. Ben, I didn't say it was terrible. I was just going to say it was ambiguous. Elaine, it was nice. It was nice of you to restrain on that one. I appreciate that, Ben. Elaine, I think we've established that Miss Baum hasn't done anything for you by the way of publicity since May 27, 2016, correct? Yep, that's safe to say, yep. Elaine, has anyone else done anything for you by the way of publicity since May 27, 2016? Depp, nope, that's really the job of a publicist. When you're not particularly allowed in the door to discuss that kind of thing, and you know that the person that you should be discussing it with has a bad case of fear because of the situation, anything that I wanted to say, I couldn't say, so I didn't say for a very long time. I kept stum, as it were. I kept my mouth closed because it was my feeling that I would rather just continue to take the hits and then deal with them when I got to a point where you could deal with a lot, as opposed to it becoming a he said, she said. I was not remotely interested in a he said, she said, or any kind of contest about it. I wanted the truth out there. My truth was not going to be heard by the mainstream media. So I went on tour and kept my mouth shut, and did that for quite a long time. Okay, and then it skips how many pages? Like good 40 pages. So I'm going to start on line 3. Elaine, and do you understand in this lawsuit you have the burden of proof to prove that it's false? Depp, all right. Elaine, do you understand that? Ben, objection to the form of the question to the extent, well, clearly it calls for a legal conclusion. Depp, the burden of proof is on me to prove that it's false. Well, Elaine, I'm just asking if you understand that. Depp, I walk into this case with what I walked into the other case with, and that's the truth. And the outcome is the outcome is the outcome. I have nothing to do with that. I can only speak my truth and hope that justice will in fact prove that Miss Heard was not ever touched, abused by me in any way, shape, or form. That's the truth. Elaine, if you view the decision in the UK as an opinion of one man and we go to trial by the jury and the jury decides in favor of Amber Heard, Is your decision, is your position going to be that's the opinion of 7 people? Ben, objection to the form of the question. It's hypothetical question to the fact witness and it's argumentative. Depp, no, I'm not going to say that's the opinion of 7 people. Listen, it can be the opinion of 1 man. It can be the opinion of 200 people. It can be the opinion of 1,000 people. And they could believe that I did those things, which I did not take part in any of what Miss Heard accuses me of. It's an outright fiction. Therefore, I can only hope that people will hear the truth and understand it to be the truth. But I don't think that the young soldiers who were storming the beaches at Normandy, I don't think they were saying, hey, let's have a pizza tonight. I think that they knew what they were that they'd gone into. So what I'm saying is, if this does come out, the decision in the particular case comes out in Miss Heard's favor, then that is what will happen. But that's not going to make me go, oh my God, I must have done it. Do you understand? Elaine, all right. So you're not going to get what you're seeking anyway. You're not going to get, Ben, object. Depp, I told you already, I can go through this case. And if it goes in my favor and the truth is it comes out, I think that what that will do will help the people out there, the women out there, to not have to listen to someone who's built a foundation, some foundation that they can stand on, a platform, and then use that platform to further their image as this great savior and public speaker and ambassador to this or that or that or this. Clearly, those are her goals, and I'm not going to be the springboard that gets her there based on her lies. Is it going to jump again? It's going to jump again. So we go from 697, just a few pages, like 5 pages. So I'm going to start at line 2. Elaine, did that stop at the time and around October 2018? I don't know what she's talking about. Let's see if we can figure it out. Depp, yes, right around the time that, yes, everything went down with Mr. Bloom. Elaine, what was the reason that you stopped the relationship with Marty Singer? Oh, Depp, Marty Singer is essentially Jake Bloom's fix-it henchman. Elaine, and I apologize. I said the wrong date. I said October 2018. I meant October 2016. Depp, 16, of course. Sorry, I missed that too. Thank you, though. Elaine, I had asked you a series of questions earlier about Adam Waldman, that there were a couple more that I needed to, for the record, and I'm anticipating. Wake up, Ben. Ben, oh, I'm awake. Elaine, I'm just teasing you. Ben, I'm writing my summary. Elaine, so I just wanted to ask you a few more questions here with respect to Adam Waldman. So was Adam Waldman acting as your agent or with your authority in contacting potential witnesses in this litigation? Ben, I would first object because it calls for a legal conclusion, and then I would instruct Mr. Depp not to answer because that would require disclosing attorney-client privilege. So I would instruct you not to answer, and he will, as he said earlier, follow my instructions. Depp, thank you. Elaine, and I have like several here, and they're all in a row. I just need to put them on the record. Depp, yes, ma'am. Elaine, did Adam Waldman act as your agent or with your authority in drafting declarations for potential witnesses that had the header from this litigation? Ben, same instruction, not to answer. Attorney-client privilege. Elaine, okay, did Adam Waldman act as your agent or with your authority in communicating with the press relating to this litigation and to the Sun and Wooten litigation? Ben, don't answer that. Elaine, on the grounds of attorney-client privilege again, right? Ben, yep. Elaine, I just want to make sure. Ben, I'm sorry, yeah, all of these are attorney-client privilege. Depp, and of course I'll follow Ben. Ben, thank you. Elaine, I think we raised it off the record, and I just want to make another on the record. My understanding was that you were going to think more about confidentiality of the settlements on the Mandel suit and with the Brooks, not the Brooks. Ben, yeah. Elaine, the Mandel suit? Ben, unfortunately, they both have draconian confidentiality provisions. Elaine, and so you're instructing him not to answer? Ben, yes, because doing so would subject him, well, more importantly him, and also me, but more importantly him, to draconian penalties. Elaine, even though we have a protective order? Ben, despite having the protective order. Now, did it jump again? It did jump again. Okay, so we're going like 9 pages. I'm going to start at 6. Elaine, did Adam Waldman act as your agent or with your authority in any conduct associated with computers that related to Amber Heard? Ben, I would instruct Mr. Depp not to answer on the grounds of attorney-client privilege. Elaine, and you're following your counsel's instruction, correct? Depp, yes, I'm going to do that. Thank you very much. Elaine, when did Amber Heard move into the penthouses? Depp, I don't know the exact date. Elaine, do you remember the year? Depp, I feel like maybe 2014. Maybe I believe it's somewhere in 2014. Very difficult to. Elaine, did you move in at the same time with Amber to the penthouses? Depp, it was a penthouse that I bought years before, so I'd already taken residence there. It was a place that I would go and stay from time to time. Elaine, did you and Amber decorate it for her in preparation for her moving in? Redecorate? Depp, well, yeah, sure. Elaine, okay, so do you remember approximately when this was, when the redecoration took place? Deb, well, I would say from the get-go, she had free reign to choose where she wanted to be, where she wanted her things up. Of course, all of that would have been done. In fact, her decision to use the master bedroom and the guest bedroom in Penthouse 5 as her shoe closet and her clothing closet might have taken me a little by surprise, but no, that was all provided, and she had a choice of whatever she wanted to do, basically. Elaine, so timing wise, you were engaged at that time and Amber had moved into the penthouse? Deb, I don't know if we were officially. No, we weren't officially engaged. No. Elaine, when did you get officially engaged? Deb, I don't know exactly, but it wasn't that early. Elaine, when you said officially, is there some distinction between engaged and officially engaged? Deb, well, no. I think I know, I don't think of someone is my girlfriend, If the word engaged comes in, you are obligated to change that to my fiance. Then when you get married, you're obligated to change it to your wife. Why these rules? She's my girl. I'm her guy, and I don't want to think about it. I'm something as abstract and as beautiful as in love and official kind of status and names. I agree with him. The label is not important. Just love the person you're with. Elaine, you said yesterday, I believe that you believed Elon Musk was behind Amber's allegations of DV and DA. Why do you believe that? Ben, objection to the form of the question. I think that mischaracterizes his testimony, but you may correct me. Deb, I don't know. I don't know that exactly. What you're asking me is far away from what I stated. So there is perfect proof that the transcript is all of our saving grace. So maybe if you want to look back at the transcript and see what I said, then that could help you. Elaine, why don't you just tell me why do you think Elon Musk has any role in this? Deb, any role? Elaine, in Amber Heard's decision to move forward with the temporary restraining order against you. Deb, I never said that once. Elaine, and domestic violence? Deb, never said that once, ma'am. And then that's it. That's it. Then it goes into the fourth. Then we go into the fourth one. So I will be back with volume 4 of Depp's Deposition. Jesus, the poor guy. But it said a lot of meaningful stuff in there. So I dig it. Anyway, that's it. That's all. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. Just go have an amazing day. I'll see you guys next time.